Needed to get paid. Betting favorites, don't you know? Couldn't pick a winner, nothing was going right. Sitting in the sports book with my dough running low, and tickets getting torn. The lying on the floor. Been like a madman out of control. So I headed on out that door. Well, I remember what a bookie said to me. He swore I could always win. I never should have listened, you know. I never ever should have listened to him. Against the spread, I'm betting against the spread. When I'm older now, I'm still betting against the spread. Against the spread, I'm betting against the spread. When I'm older now, I'm still betting against the spread. Against the spread. Against the spread. Watch Jersey ride. Against the spread. Bet against the spread. Against the spread.
Oh, a classic Sean Mars and the Superstars against the spread. Takeoff, of course, on the great against the wind. And if you were betting against the spread, you remember this video with Martin Short, Louis. Good morning, everybody, by the way. Jumped for us. We got Mike Louie Lubitz, Friday, Degenerate Friday edition of the program, which means we'll feature the professor and a big board and then added bonus coverage today because Louie really believes. I don't know. Do you really believe it?
Not about believing. The rumors are different than they've been before. They're pervasive. They won't go away. And there's no really other team involved. And if you're looking at things from the Bucks perspective, you sort of have to make the move, right? Like, you're not good with him. At least before you were contending, you're making the playoffs, you're getting Damian Lillard, you're looking at the East thinking you have a chance. I don't think the East was good this year, but I think it will be. I think the Pacers were without Halliburton, a team that pushed the Thunder, right? The Magic are a nice, interesting young team. The Pistons are a very talented young team. Are just going to get older. The Knicks are on the way to win a championship. The Heat, if they can get Giannis, are a competitive team in the East. Like, the East, it wasn't good this year, but it's going to be much better next year. Like, if you're the Bucks, like, you're not contending. So if you're bad with the superstar that now is going to get another max deal in his 30s, he's not happy. You're not, as we've seen the league turn, it doesn't, to be the 10th seed or the 12th seed with a guy who's making $300 million, like, what's the point of that? So we're at a place now that this doesn't just feel like Heat fans and Pat Riley's dream. Like, it just feels like he's going to have to move. And where else is there right now?
Well, does that make you the Milwaukee Bucks, though? I mean, that's the thing you have to ask yourself. If you give up a lot, I understand what the Heat have a cachet.
Yes.
They have so-called draft capital, so they can trade some picks, which is what Milwaukee would desperately need, and they can trade some players that are functional. So is this Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for Brian Winters, Dave Myers, and Junior Bridgman? If the Heat give up, let's say, Tyler Hero, and they're unlikely to trade Bam out of bio. I can't imagine.
Yeah, that's the thing is all the names there that are mentioned are like depth guys. And look, I think it's still value for the Bucks because they're young guys that have proven that they can start and play in a rotation.
Well, as you said, if they're going nowhere anyway with this guy, whatever they get is a plus.
Exactly. And again, I don't think it'll be just nothing. They're not being dumb. Like, what the Heat are offering is a real trade. It's just.
Do we know what they're offering? I mean, do we have any idea?
Yes.
We do.
The base offer, from what most people know, is Hero, Khalil Ware. And again, if the Heat played their young guys more, these guys would have even more value. The Heat don't play their young guys.
So you can't assume. I mean, Khalil Ware is Never going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo, but it doesn't mean he can't be a functional big man in the
I mean,
league.
they've shown when he gets starters minutes, he's averaging almost 20 and 10.
Yeah, he's not terrible.
All-star numbers. And again, he's young. He's like 21. Like
He's not Hassan Whiteside.
No, he's not. His effort is the thing that bothers Spo. So, and it feels like Spo's very Riley at the point where once a young guy doesn't prove himself, he just writes him off, which is weird because we young guys grow and get better and improve. Again, look at SGA. SGA felt like a throw-in in the Paul George trade. Now, Presti was smart enough to make it a have to. He wanted SGA. The Clippers didn't care. They're like, okay, here, have him. He's now, if not the best, well, Wemby's probably the best player now, but he's second or third best player in the league.
MVPs.
Back-to-back MVP winner, champion, almost champion again. Like, so you can get better as a young guy, and that's what this trade is. What the Heat are giving would be giving the Bucks, but the thing is, they wouldn't be touching any of their veterans, and it's something I'll give you credit. Like most people slammed Wiggins. If you looked at Wiggins' numbers this year,
Wiggins is a good player.
They were really good, and he's still an elite defender, and he can hit the three ball, and he's a veteran who's won a title, which is something the Spurs are missing and the Knicks have in abundance, right? So that does matter, as we're seeing in the playoff stage. Like, and we saw last year in the playoff stage, the Indiana Pacers had some guys like that. The Thunder didn't. The Pacers pushed the Thunder to 7 games in the finals, and if Halliburton doesn't get hurt, the Thunder may have had the same fate the Spurs are going to have, right? The great team that seemed better but isn't veteran. Like Wiggins, Mitchell was a really good player for the Heat. People don't notice that. Powell, people go, oh, well, he was a sieve. He was hero part 2. No, he was hurt. It's clear he was hurt the last 2 months. When he was healthy, he was not only an all-star, he was one of the better players in the league when he was healthy the first half of the season.
And maybe that's the kind of player that you have to surround Antetokounmpo with, the Chris Middleton type.
And you keep Bam, who is a top 15, 20 player, a perennial all-star, right? A top 3 or 4 defensive player in the league. So this isn't the Bucks. That's what I keep trying to tell people. This isn't. Then
I don't even know. Do we need Scoop? You have this. You have this down.
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I am the fan. You are right, and I do let my bias drench everything I do.
No, but I mean, it was good analysis on your part. I wouldn't have been able to go into that kind of detail on this thing. I don't know. You assume. Every trade that involves the Heat trying to acquire a player that they think can turn the corner for them and put them over the top, or maybe get them up to the elite level. Tyler Hero's name is the first one that comes up, and you would have to think expendable. Did they just have in parentheses expendable? Tyler Hero's name in the contract? I don't know, but all right. Scoop's going to give us the details on that. Lubie says it's picking up a lot of steam, so we want him to address that. So. Scoop Skolnick will join us about 9 o'clock after the professor and the big board on the show today. I do have to mention this. It's funny because you wake up and you're starting to think, okay, what are we going to talk about on the show? What's going on? I don't know what we can add. There are a lot of different perspectives you can take on the Knicks Spurs series. I got to the anatomy of this breakdown by the Spurs in the New York Post because it's yesterday's news tomorrow for me with the Bulldog edition that I get. Naturally, they didn't have the game covered in yesterday's edition, but they do have great detail on what transpired today. I don't know that you need to read more about it, although, as I said, it offers a lot of different perspectives, not the least of which, Lubie, and this one caught me, and I actually started to go through it because I love this kind of stuff where they're trying to place Anunoby's tip-in terms of dramatics. Now, it didn't decide the series, but did give the Knicks a significant edge, and you would think...
Change the series. If the Spurs won that game, to me, the Spurs are winning the next 2, and the series is over.
That's what I would have thought. I mean, I was looking at Spurs in 6 at halftime.
Because they showed the numbers. The Spurs have led in every game by double digits. Like the Spurs, whatever Knicks fans want to say, it's fine. The fight, the veterans, they've won. The Spurs have controlled the series. The Knicks have won the series. And again, it's like what the Celtics did that year versus the Heat. It doesn't matter how many times. We didn't lead to the last 30 seconds. What was the final score? That's all that matters. I don't care what Mitch Johnson says or what stupid ass Kenny Atkinson says.
Atkinson made a fool of himself.
The Knicks have been smart and savvy and not shot their load and just hung around and made their move at the right time. That's all that matters in sports. And they're leading the series and they're going to win a title. What game? I don't know. And if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm not thinking this way. I get it, but I'm not a Knicks fan. That tip was, I don't know where it ranks. I don't know what you do, so I'll let you finish. But change the series to me. It was a series changing one play.
All right, so here's the premise here. On Wednesday night, OG Anunoby treated New York to a forever play one that immediately joined the pantheon of all-time defining, all-time signature New York sports moments.
Oh, yeah, especially if it's New York.
All right, so here are the post 10 plays that best defines New York sports. All right, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
All right, number one, the shot heard around the world. Bobby Thompson's home run. That, of course, propelled the Giants to win the pennant in 1951, the year I was born. I actually heard that from the womb.
Yeah.
Well, no, I was already on the planet by the time he hit this home run. So yeah, as a 3-month-old or whatever,
Yeah.
like little Luca Panici Lubitz, sitting in on these shows. I heard that shot heard around the world. Bobby Thompson with the home run to beat the dreaded Dodgers. Don Larson's perfect game, World Series, only one ever in World Series play. 2-0 victory over the Dodgers, Game 5, the 56 Fall Classic. That came in. I'm assuming that they're putting these in order, which I don't know. Maybe this is just randomly done.
Yeah, may should be their top 10. I don't know.
Willis Reed coming out of the tunnel. Of course, he makes the first 4
yeah.
points. He goes 2 for 4 in a ball game, but the
He's at the
Knicks
top.
go on and win their last championship. Last time they ever did it, 53 years ago, as that was viewed as wildly inspiring, and it was. Marv Albert screaming, "Here comes Willis! Here comes Willis!" And he comes out of the tunnel, and everybody's thinking, "Oh my God, this cripple is going to go out there and try and play." He's clearly hobbled. And he hits a couple of shots, those classic 14-foot Willis Reed jumpers from just inside the key. And they get off to a good start. People forget that Clyde Frazier had a monster game in that contest against the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Knicks had their championship. So that was great, a Game 7. The Buckner play also was listed, even though it was a dribbler that went through the legs of an opponent. Still ranks up there as one of the all-time moments in New York sports history, at least according to the survey here in the Post. Wide right, when the Norwood field goal missed.
Oh, yeah.
The Super Bowl.
Giants.
Matau, as Howie Rose made the call.
The Rangers.
On, is it Stefan Matau?
Stefan Matau, yeah, or Matau, I don't know. Yeah.
Whatever. And the Rangers beat the Devils in a Game 7 on a wraparound.
Yes.
And that led to their Stanley Cup championship, ending another ridiculously long
50-something rounds. Yep.
New York teams go centuries without winning a championship. It's incredible.
Yes.
They go longer than you would expect most South Florida teams do. Piazza's 9/11 home run was also a moment of great drama and had tremendous significance from many different standpoints. The flip play by Derek Jeter is up there.
That's a big play.
This was similar to the flip play, wasn't it? Because it was just a heads-up play by a guy.
Yeah,
that had to work perfectly. You weren't expecting the shortstop to be on the first base side of the foul line to have the ability to actually execute an awkward relay throw to the plate. And the way Anunoby, I mean, when you watch where he came from on that rebound, Grant Long was on with us yesterday, and he was talking about what a heads-up play that was and how Ron Rothstein used to emphasize to him when he was the original coach of the Miami Heat, and Grant Long was on that team, go to the basket. Get it if you get a chance. Just go to the basket. Something good can happen if you're running inside. As a perimeter chucker my entire life, that was always the thing that people said when you missed a shot, you would have one of those Mitch Robinson line drive bricks that went off the front rim after shooting from the dead corner with 3 guys draped all over you, and everybody be screaming, "Follow your shot! Follow your shot! You fat Jewish prick! Follow your shot!" Anunoby, his tip in was put right behind the helmet catch by David Tyree, the helmet catch, and that led to a Super Bowl victory with Eli Manning dodging 11 tackles and then heaving ball that they invoked the infield fly rule on. It goes up between 2 defenders, and David Tyree, who I think had 3 catches coming into that game total, all of a sudden becomes a big-time, literally giant hero and makes that play. But that's been talked about a lot. I was going to mention I get a kick out of it because I'm trying to figure out what direction we're going to go in, and I really didn't want to overwhelmingly dwell on Spurs Knicks analysis today. I think we pretty much covered all the ground there.
Yeah, and they don't play today. That's the other thing too. There's another day.
Right.
of no games.
I don't know how much more analysis of this series I can take before they play this game 5. Which is there not a general assumption out there that somehow the Spurs are going to win this game and send it back to New York? And if they do, Lubie, what level of paranoia does that give to Knicks fans? Because well, I don't know what the stats are on it. We know that nobody's ever come back from 3-0.
Remember the LeBron Cavs did 3-1. I don't know who else did 3-1 in a finals. Remember the Heat and the Knicks when the Zoe, Larry Johnson, the bench is cleared, so guys were suspended, and the Heat's guys were smarter than the stupid Knicks guys. Knicks lost starters, Heat lost no one of importance.
Van Gundy like a schnauzer.
So the Heat went from 3-1 down to winning the series, and the only real time the Heat actually did get past the Knicks in that rivalry run was very drenched in conspiracy because the Heat literally were down and out until that fight. I remember very well. But that I think was our second round, or maybe a conversation like that. No, it wasn't a final, the second round. Like 3-1 in the final. I know again the Cavs Warriors again, which was very helped by Draymond Green getting suspended. I don't know any other finals. Like it's not 3-0, but it's very rare.
Very rare, of course. The 3-0 is like 165-0 or something in that neighborhood.
Never. Look, the Celtics almost did it to the Heat in the conference finals, and the Heat even then still won in a rout. Yeah, Jason Tatum got hurt after the Heat were up by like 20, and he played the rest of the game. So 3-0, that was as close as I remember anyone getting, and that still didn't happen.
Yeah. All right. So I'm on my way to sit down here and do the thing. I'm trying to figure out some stuff, and who pops up on the screen? Speaking of New York, and Miami, but is ESPN? How credible can you buy into the analysis that you get from these guys when Mike Tannenbaum is their football expert on personnel, a guy who literally, and we've talked about this forever with Tannenbaum since he became an announcer, which look, if you didn't know anything about the guy and you listen to what he had to say, would you say that there was a great deal of depth or impactful type of information that you were getting from Mike Tannenbaum, or does he just peruse the periphery, as we say, and give you the kind of stuff that you could get from pretty much anybody? What would you say on that one? Because remember when we had him on the Radio Row interview, I was pretty excited because, I mean, he had been with the Dolphins.
Yes.
And he was no longer the GM of the Dolphins.
Yep.
So you thought, wow, this guy might be able – look, he's probably not inclined at that point. I don't know if he was aspiring to be a general manager in the league again, or if he saw this media opportunity that was going to take place. And let's not forget our good friend Jason Cole, writing for and working for the 33rd Team, which is a website on football. That website was, I believe, founded by Mike Tannenbaum.
Tannenbaum and Polian.
And Bill Polian. Okay. Yes. So one very respected general manager and another guy who was perceived as a buffoon.
Joke, yes, joke. Yes, joke. The one good thing he did was get Steve Kerr that contract is pushed Kerr to go to the Warriors and not the Knicks. That was the one thing he did great.
As an agent, the guy was obviously very in making that move with Steve Kerr, who prospered greatly as a result and became a championship coach and a Hall of Fame coach in all likelihood, and made himself a ton of money. So Tannenbaum, not poor, but he did find. I don't know. You know, it's funny because we have guys on the show, and I'm neglectful in this, Lubie, and everybody's always telling you, well, you know what? Take a look at the website there. I'm just not inclined to read a lot of stuff online. I don't know how you are. Have you ever logged on to the 33rd Team and taken in any of their?
They're in there because Cole's on, and I really like Cole, and I appreciate him. And even though Polian's gotten sort of a weird reputation since his exec days, and Tannenbaum is just sort of a joke.
Well, buried two franchises. I mean, literally buried two franchises.
Yes. And then goes and talks about the sport like he knows what he's talking about. When he's not, it's not mythical with him. He actually had the chance to do it and failed 2 different times. I trust Cole. So if Cole's joining it, and again, we've joked, but he's been really good about his movements with his career. It's like, okay. Yeah. So I followed it, and they have some interesting stuff, and they cover the NFL as well as anyone, at least.
Is it popular?
I don't know.
Hear much about. I mean, if we didn't have Jason Cole on,
I wouldn't have heard of it.
I honestly wouldn't know it existed. Would you? I haven't seen anything about it. I haven't seen them credited with any kind of significant informational scoop. or anything along those lines, or you see their writers being praised for coming up with stuff that was especially interesting. I haven't seen any of that. That doesn't mean that it's not great. I mean, that just means that I haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Tannenbaum responsible for that. So he does have some credentials as a guy that is capable of bringing insight to the media.
Yes.
But when he's on TV, he doesn't say anything.
No.
Zero. And that interview that we had with him was so disappointing that day. I don't know that it wasn't like it was unfriendly. I mean, it was a very cordial interview.
It was very Norvell-esque. He
We got
talked a lot.
nothing out of that guy.
Said nothing. We had him on a few times. I stopped, and God rest his soul, actually. Jason Jenkins is a great man.
Yes.
I stopped because they still had, when he was with the Dolphins and then he went on to do other things. We had opportunities to have him on again, and I stopped having him on because he just didn't say anything. He would talk. He was a nice guy. He said nothing. It was like, okay.
It's a real art to that. We've mastered it over these many years working together. That's for sure. All right. World Cup got underway yesterday. Mexico 2-0 over Istanbul. Who did they play? I don't even know.
You know more than me. I'm proud of myself. I watched not 1 second. It's the first time
I didn't watch any of it.
23 years, 24 years that I have not watched even a second of it.
You don't watch 1 second of the opening
just so
game.
Turned off, and I get the guy that's in DC has nothing to do with the games, and I know I will eventually watch the games because something I've done for over 2 decades. It just has a weird feel this time for me. I don't know. It just feels weird.
Today's a big day though for the World Cup, is it not?
I guess
U.S. gets underway against like Paraguay.
Paraguay, yeah.
And I would imagine that there's going to be a host of other games. I didn't really look at the schedule yet because
I see it says the thing I'm seeing here, which I don't know if they're getting to the full slate yet, but Canada, Bosnia, Herzegovina, and USA, Paraguay. So there may be other games.
That's it. 2 games.
There may be other games.
I'll
look, those are the 2 that I'm seeing here.
There are 48 teams in this tournament. What do I have? 12 groups of 4, I guess.
Yeah, I
12
don't know.
groups of 4. Is that the way it's structured?
It used to be 32 teams, and they did what every sport is doing, and they added a lot more teams for some reason.
Stick a few more guys out there.
Exactly.
U.S. hasn't gotten past what? The round of 16? They haven't gotten to the round of 16 in like the last 50 years. Have they ever done it?
They've made, I think, a 16 in the last 20 or so years, but I don't think they've gone further than that. They've never threatened more than that. Like, they've gone out of group before, but I think they usually struggle after that. Like, wasn't there a year Landon Donovan made some ridiculous goal? And
the professor says 2002 they made the round of 8.
Yeah, that's okay. So 8.
Bring him in here because we need a soccer expert. We don't have.
Seems to know a lot more than we do.
I watch a little bit of soccer.
He knows
one of those deals. I think when one of your girlfriends or whoever you were with at the time, like
I was dating a girl in college, but we went to their house. A bunch of friends of mine went with a bunch of friends of hers, and she was Costa Rican, so they're not great in soccer, but they care about it, and people were like really into it. So that got me like, we didn't even go far, but I just got into the pageantry of it. It was like a really cool event, and since then it's allowed me to like care about
pageantry of it.
Yeah, I like the world stage things, Olympics. I not anymore, but back then.
So you like that stupid thing they did in Mexico yesterday, where they introduced every country like it was the Olympics, and
then I would have. Now I don't.
Andrea Bocelli and the girl from K-pop Demon Hunters came out and sang. Honestly, this is the freaking thing that really drives me up a tree about soccer. They are so pretentious about it's the beautiful game, and the game just means more. And then you can't go 30 seconds without some goddamn soccer fan telling you about how time they stopped a war to watch a soccer game. Yeah, they stopped that war for like 3 hours to watch one game. It wasn't like they watched a game of soccer and just declared peace. They just took a pause to watch a freaking game for 3 hours.
It's
ridiculous,
such a hoax.
They're so obnoxious about the whole beautiful game.
Yeah.
Politics.
And then they give you the business about, it's like watching chess on a giant field. And it's like, I'd rather watch 2 guys. I remember when I think Bobby Fischer was involved in like a mail-in chess match. That would be more interesting than watching a.
I'm not going to go that far, but
they were like making moves by mail. It took 4 weeks for one pawn to get moved to another space. But I don't see it. I'm with you, Professor. Naturally. Now, are you going to be wagering on any of these games? Just out of
of course.
to have some
I mean, it's
motivation.
something to do
interest,
during
emotion?
the summer. No, I don't need motivation. You have to remember, unlike Lubie, who's got a very international flair and goes and hangs out with Costa Ricans for the game and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I despise like 90% of the countries in the world. So I always have somebody to cheer against
Yes.
because it's a country that takes soccer much more seriously than they should.
Yes.
And it's an opportunity to make their people feel bad,
Yeah.
which, I can't help but take advantage of. You can ask Lubie. I've done it to America too. We were at the Yard House one time, and the American women's team were in a game against Sweden, where I just started randomly cheering for Sweden, in the middle, which Sweden won, by the way, in a shootout. And by the time like the waitress came over to me, was like, "Are you from Sweden?" And I was like, "No, I just hate American women's soccer."
Call me Sven.
Yeah, no, look, again, I can give. We did the big board about it last time with the Euros. Like, there's a bunch of countries that I absolutely despise that are very seriously into soccer, and you could really aggravate the people from those countries when their soccer team flounders.
Yeah, which we'll see. When does it end? That would be my question.
November, I think. I think it runs basically for hurricane season.
So they added 16 teams, and Italy still missed.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, again, at this point, it's just
Francesco is face down in.
It's their world.
Trophy.
They love.
All right, we're gonna get into
basically because Norway got in because of Erling Haaland, the best player in the world who we've talked about before, the guy who looks like a Nazi experiment who plays for Manchester City and has set all sorts of records. Anyway, Norway got in. Basically, that was Italy's spot. I mean, Europe, like, everybody's so good, it's crazy competitive to get in out of that group. Whereas, again, Canada is like the second or third best team in CONCACAF. And, like, I haven't watched them yet. We're going to watch them this afternoon, but it's Canada. I'm assuming they're, like, tripping over each other and starting hockey brawls. I mean, how good could Canada possibly be at soccer? Yeah. I mean, other than curling and hockey, and if it's not ice, is Canada good at anything?
I would think not. I mean, there's a minor period of time where there's any kind of thaw. Although you would have to say, and I don't know how many Canadians were involved in this game last night. This series with Carolina and Vegas has been a lot of fun. And one of the weird things that struck me, Carolina's goalie was a human sieve there early on, and he was, I believe, the favorite to win the MVP.
No. Carolina's replaced their goalie 2 games ago.
They replaced him.
You're talking about Anderson, not
right. Anderson. I think he was the favorite to win the MVP because Carolina was favored to win the Stanley Cup by
and he had been outstanding through the first 3 rounds, and then
what if the backup goalie became the MVP? What were the odds on that?
Oh, good.
Very, very long, but I don't think he's going to be the MVP.
No?
He's played well, but it's not like he's putting on, stand on your head, shutout type of performances.
But if he doesn't come in there, they probably have lost the series already.
Well, yeah, probably, but only because Anderson was so terrible. I mean, the guy literally, normally when you look up hockey stats, the goalies have like 92 save percentages, 91, and like on a really great game, it's 100 or 98 or whatever. Anderson was doing like literally 75% a game. It wasn't just that he was letting in a ton of goals. It's like he was letting in a ton of goals, and you look at the end of the game, and it was like Vegas, 5 goals on 14 shots, 4 goals on 12 shots. Like,
it was an ugly
numbers you never see in the NHL.
Yeah. All right, we're going to come back with the professor on a big board here. Scoop Skolnick going to join us about 9 o'clock. He's going to be audio only on this thing, but I think Lubie's analysis to it was. I'd be curious to compare your analysis to what Scoop has to say about this possibility of Giannis Antetokounmpo coming to the Heat, and then of course Scoop will have some observations on Spurs and Knicks as well. All right, we'll come back with the professor on a big board in a moment. Now that
the time
is 32.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Joe Bees. The bees collect the pollen, bring it to Joe, he packages it, and he gets it to you. It's simple, 100% natural, and it's good for you.
There's only one place to get Joe Bees, and that's from me. Joe B.
If you want to look and feel good, call 877-300-5632.
The world, I mean, if my point was ever going to be embellished and going to be proven true, the world has gotten me sugar now.
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show, Jeff DeForest. We got Mike Lubie. Lubie's a professor with us with a big board. Quick thought, Professor, is the NBA series, is it over in favor of the Knicks, or do you see a chance of a Spurs comeback?
I would say it's like 98% over. A team that young that has had so many mental breakdowns, it's just about impossible to see him getting over what just happened. Here's the thing, and I don't want to like aggravate Knicks fans, but like that game that we watched, game 4, that was not like the Knicks making this great, amazing comeback, or where like they played great. Anunoby played great. Nobody else on the Knicks, like the Spurs, that was one of the worst chokes I've ever. I mean,
big time.
30 points in the second half.
It's impossible if you just run clock and make a shot.
It's a guy I've always been a fan of, but if De'Aaron Fox was a horse, they'd have shot him before he got to that dribble out play. Because like people want to make it out about the last play, the play where he didn't dribble the ball, which was he was throwing lazy passes and taking bad threes and pounding the ball into the ground the entire second half.
Yes.
I mean, that was just an epic choke by the Spurs, and on top of it, everything else. And I'm one of the people who've been calling for Wemby to play more minutes because his team needed. Like he was completely out of energy by the end. It baffles me that a guy who's 22 years old, who's built like a marathon runner, is can't play 40 minutes, or he's out of gas in the fourth quarter of the game. At that young with his build, you'd think he could run all night. No. If they come back, it's going to have to be they go home tomorrow night and win by like 30 and put some serious doubt into the Knicks' heads. Barring that, no, I really can't. Like I said, maybe 1%, 2%. Very, very, very unlikely, in my opinion.
All right, we're ready for our favorite segment here of the week.
Well, no, we're not, because we haven't talked about one of the big stories of the week, which is, I don't know if you see this, but I felt like it was necessary. Tom Brady released a new line of coconut water this week that he owns, and it is called, I'm not kidding you, Good Nut Water.
Oh, shut up.
So, like, people have to go to the store and tell their wives, would you pick me up a 6-pack of Tom Brady's Good Nut?
As opposed to his
bad one? I'm really enjoying Tom Brady's Good Nut. Like, how does this man keep getting away with releasing his perversions on the public? There is no backlash to it whatsoever. I don't understand how this pervert, coming from a team owned by a sex offender, is continued to peddle this filth to the American public with no consequences whatsoever. It's amazing.
It is pretty incredible, yeah. I guess because he's good looking, right? He's got that Tom Cruise kind of look to him.
I mean, I'm not going to call him good looking,
Well, you wouldn't, yeah. But I mean, by any male standard, you would have to say that Tom Brady was a very
I'd
good
say he's
looking.
had a lot of plastic surgery and a Ozempic face. Like, I'm not.
All right, let's go to the board here. This is
Well,
our
this
main.
board requires some pretext. It requires some explanation, because I fully planned on this week's big board being a hit job on the New York Knicks and one Donald Trump. I was writing this out as Spurs were up 29, and then the goddamn Wu-Tang Clan had to come out and unjinx the New York Knicks because Wu-Tang is for the children, and reverse this whole thing. So now my big board is completely shot. So I have absolutely nothing, because, again, I was fully prepared to do an entire segment on how Donald Trump is now the new No Nanette. Donald Trump is the new Billy Goat. Donald Trump is the new biggest jinx in the history of sports, because the Knicks had all this momentum, and he goes to the game and falls asleep in the middle of the press box and kills it. And Wu-Tang, who are one of my favorite groups of all time, had to ruin that for me. And by the way, all the white women who are trying to give credit to Taylor Swift, you're racist. That was literally all the Wu-Tang's work. Nothing to do with Taylor Swift and her gang of women at courtside in their dumb Knicks themed T-shirts. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
Said Stevie Nicks with the Knicks had the K, and it said Nickelback with Knicks, which if I were a Nick, I would have gone and punched that girl in the face. Like,
can't compare to Nickelback.
Title, and you're calling us Nickelback. Like, come on, man. That's an occasion where domestic violence would have been acceptable.
Oh, Jesus.
But that was totally ruined. But luckily, and Louis, you can pull up the big board here. As we were driving to trivia the other night, I was listening to John Oliver's latest piece, which was entirely about on Last Week Tonight, which was entirely about the New College of Florida. Now, when I was in high school, New College was this school for math nerds, best known because at the time, the most famous graduate of New College was a math guy who had gone on to work for Xerox when Xerox developed Windows, and then Xerox, in their corporate wisdom, gave it away to Microsoft and Apple. So that's what New College was known for, was this experimental math stuff. And it was actually really hard to get into New College at the time. Like, you needed crazy test scores to get into New College. All of that has changed over the last few years. Ron DeSantis decided to turn it into Hillsdale College Part 2.
Okay, that's I'm trying to think of what to call
like
it.
Like a conservative school, which has been done at the private level before, but it's never been done at a state school.
Nope.
And it has not gone well, to say the least. Test scores are considerably down because turns out, reciting MAGA talking points attracts a less well-scoring group than math nerds. So if you are interested in that part of it, you should go watch the John Oliver Last Week Tonight piece, because they absolutely covered it better and funnier than I'll ever do it in the big picture. On the other hand, as they're walking through this whole thing, John Oliver, just as an aside, drops in the fact that apparently Urban Meyer has been nominated to the board of directors of New College. And then he just lets it go. Like, he doesn't delve into that at all. So I can say, well, the people at Last Week Tonight, win Emmys every year and are great. I feel we at the big board are more qualified to discuss Urban Meyer's position as on the board of directors, because I misheard it at first and thought they had named Urban Meyer president of the school. And Louis was like, no, I think they said they put him on the board of directors. So that will be this week's big board, which is the big board of Urban Meyer's qualifications for the New College board of directors. Because if really what Tom Brady is to sexual perversion, Urban Meyer is to higher education.
You would have to say it. Qualifications would have to be highly.
Oh my God, I'm ready for this so much.
All right, here we go.
And the first thing that baffled me on this is the fact that I live in the state of Florida, and this was the first time hearing of this.
Never
It's
heard
like,
of it.
how the hell did Urban Meyer get nominated to the board of directors of a state school in Florida? And I have no idea about this. And that takes us to our bonus slide, which is because they announced this on New Year's Eve in 2025.
Nice.
It could be just me, but if I'm dealing with an ultra famous person and I have this news that he's joining I'm not dropping the news conference on New Year's freaking Eve.
No.
I feel like New Year's Eve is the time where you put out the news that you're deeply, deeply ashamed of. Like New Year's Eve is the time because you know nobody's going to be paying it. Everybody's getting dressed and getting ready to go. Or if they're not already drunk by 2 o'clock, like nobody's tuning into the freaking news on New Year's Eve. They're turning into whoever was it, Seacrest now that is the new Dick Clark. That's what they're watching on New Year's Eve. They're not watching the news about who's the new directors, who's on the new board of directors of the new College of Florida.
It's a supreme
And
dump.
on top of that, you're nominating Urban Meyer for the board of directors for a school that didn't have any athletic program for 3 years, has never played football, and currently has no plans to play football. And as you can see, looking at their crazy-ass campus, which, by the way, I learned is the former home of Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus fame.
Oh, nice.
That's his house, is their campus. As you can see, they don't have any athletic facilities anywhere on. They do no tennis court, no basketball court, certainly no football field. But somehow Urban Meyer is on the board of directors. Now, maybe Urban Meyer has some crazy background as a math nerd that I don't know about. But again, for a school that used to be entirely math nerds, Urban Meyer seems like a very strange pick. And yes, the kind of pick that you would do the press release on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that's a supreme news dump.
All right. We haven't even gotten to the board yet.
And that takes us to number 5, which now we will get into Urban Meyer's qualifications of being on the board of directors. And number 5 is to remind you that the last time Urban Meyer was an employee of the state university system for Florida, he faked a heart attack to get out of his record contract. That, again, faked a heart attack, made his wife make a 911 call, which he later claimed was just a very bad case of indigestion.
Oh, gee, it wasn't. Oh, God.
And then a year later, after the Gators were terrible, quit the school to go take Ohio State, which, again, I'm just saying from like an ethical standpoint, if you have a contract with all the state, which, by the way, at the time was the second highest paid contract in the history of college football, has a standard no competes and everything else, and you fake a heart attack to get, that's not a normal human move. That's a move that like a movie villain does.
A movie villain.
That's like a move that a dude does in the movies so you know he's a dick. Like that's establishes you as a jerk off like that. That's the story they float in corporate culture to know to stay the hell away from this guy. Oh, yeah, he's the guy who faked a heart attack to get out of his last job.
I've often wondered, though, when it was time to consider faking your own death. I mean, certainly when you're in the whole book.
That's the thing. We all joke about faking our own death. Urban Meyer actually did it.
He did it. Yeah. Yep. He did it.
All right. That's number 5.
And then why did he do it? Because the University of Florida went to him after and was like, Urban, we don't care if you recruit a bunch of felons, but maybe no more serial killers on the team.
Probably not the most.
And Urban's reaction was, well, screw you. I'm going to fake a heart attack to get out of this contract.
Yes.
It's hard at number 5.
The only person I know who's done this other than Urban Meyer is Fred freaking Sanford. Elizabeth, I want to take the Ohio State job.
All right.
Again, you would think there'd be some bitter feelings about this, but apparently Ron DeSantis is like, oh, you know what, Urban, if you want to go there for a year and then fake a heart attack to get off the board of directors, that's fine by me.
You could see where DeSantis would consider Urban Meyer to be a stand-up guy.
Yeah, that's like
he's the type of guy, if there ever was one. All right.
That takes us to number 4, which is, let's just say, in the years since he faked a heart attack to get out of the University of Florida, Urban Meyer might not be the best guy to have around a bunch of college-age women because he's displayed some questionable behavior.
Yeah.
Where younger women are around. Now, I don't know if there's a bar near New College or if New College does a bunch of partying with liquor and the college girls, but let's just say Urban does not necessarily seem like the best guy to have around in that environment.
Yeah, that picture there is a more scathing indictment than the Diana Rossini
Exactly.
pictures. I mean, that's not a pretty picture.
Anyway, for those who are unfamiliar, this was when Urban's Jacksonville Jaguars were 0-4 and had just lost a game on a questionable go-for-2 decision by Urban Meyer. I believe it was against the Cincinnati Bengals, but it might have been the Browns. Anyway, he was in the state of Ohio, and so what did Urban do? He took the next 3 days off and went to a bar and grinded on a college girl all night long.
It's not a laughing matter, but
it's absolutely a laughing matter because it's Urban Meyer. I mean, again, this is the guy you just named to the board of directors for your college.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if a conservative value includes grinding on college girls when you're in your mid-60s, but apparently that's what he does. So, let's roll with it because he won some football games. So, again.
That picture somehow has been spirited away. You don't see that often enough associated with Urban Meyer. That's a good one, Professor.
And again, if Ron DeSantis thinks Urban Meyer is qualified for this job, does that mean Nick Saban's going to be Ron DeSantis' vice presidential nominee if DeSantis ever runs for president?
Probably. I wouldn't doubt it.
He may even capitulate and make Saban just run for vice president.
Maybe Tuberville.
Now, what you would like to think here is that Urban Meyer is a guy who made some questionable decisions, made some bad decisions like faking a heart attack, and then improved himself in terms of conservative values as he went along, as he aged a little bit. Look, most of us get a little bit more conservative as we get a little older.
There you go.
But we'd like to remind you, Urban Meyer was suspended by Ohio State for 4 games because he refused to fire a wide receivers coach after a domestic violence arrest. Yes. And let's remember, this is the same coach he brought with him to Ohio State from the University of Florida when he had already had a first domestic violence incident at the University of Florida. And that this was Zach Smith was his name. And by the way, the guy who replaced Zach Smith was Brian freaking Hartline, who I'm not saying I've gone down the list of every wide receivers coach in the history of college football.
He's like top 5.
But if Brian Hartline's not the greatest wide receivers coach of all time, he's on the very, very short list.
His recruiting list is nuts.
So you already had the best wide receivers coach of all time on staff ready to replace this guy, but you didn't fire this guy after at least the second domestic violence incident that you know about. And the fallout here that people really don't remember is that Urban Meyer's wife, Shelley, who was a registered nurse, almost lost her medical license over this because she knew about the previous domestic violence incident and didn't say anything because Zach Smith's wife had gone to Shelley Meyer to tell her she had been beaten. And if you are in the medical profession, you need to report anytime there's physical harm. Yes. Again, she got her license suspended and she almost lost her license personally over this. So Urban Meyer liked his wide receivers coach so much that he was willing to watch his wife lose her medical license to try to save his job. And I'm just going to say, as you can see the picture here of Zach Smith, I don't necessarily think that you could tell just by looking at somebody that they enjoy a good round of domestic violence. But I will say, if you ask me to describe a man who enjoys going home and slapping the wife around after a few beers, I'm pretty much going to describe Zach Smith.
He has the look.
That looks like a man who is a domestic violence enthusiast.
100%.
That looks like a man who
It
has
looks like
thought
a guy
in his
who's
head, I'm going to go home and smack the wife around.
looks like he's actually justifying it. somehow.
Exactly. That's what that face
In the
is.
question.
Like, yeah, what's wrong with it?
She had it coming.
She got mouthy.
She can't tell me I'm drinking too much beer.
That looks like a guy who, when you ask
Max
about
is good for
domestic
me.
violence, says, "Oh, that's not a real thing."
Yes,
it's okay to
yes.
That's number 3.
Number 3. Oh my
So,
God.
again, to review, fake heart attack as state employee, likes Grant, enjoys domestic violence. But let's talk about Urban Meyer as a developer of young men. Let's talk about Urban Meyer as a leader who helps young student athletes develop character and go on to success, not just on the football field. From 2005 to 2010, 31 of his players were arrested. At least 31. They weren't sure because they couldn't track minor violations like DUI and such. 31 of his players were arrested on 70 charges, including future serial killer Aaron Hernandez, who, let's remember, actually had a shooting incident that was discovered at the University of Florida that despite the fact that the police report was filed that the unknown suspect was 6'4", roughly 250 pounds, and either of Hawaiian or Latin descent, and had been hanging out with Reggie Nelson that night, which I don't know how many people on the face of the planet, much less in Gainesville, Florida, could have possibly fit that description. To be fair, Aaron Hernandez at the time listed playing weight was 240 pounds, not 250 pounds.
There you go.
But let's remember, this was also less than 3 weeks when, after trying to skip out on a bar bill, when the bartender stopped him at the door, Aaron Hernandez beat the crap out of the guy. That was less than 3 weeks later. 2 people were shot after confrontations with the Pouncey brothers and Reggie Nelson. I don't necessarily think you needed to be Sherlock freaking Holmes to figure out this case. So I'm not exactly sure what was going on with the Gainesville Police Department at the time, but the whole process seems a little suspicious. And let's remember that after these 2 incidents, Aaron Hernandez once served a 1-game drug suspension, and the drug was
meth, right?
PCP.
Oh, PCP.
Oh, geez.
Now,
yes.
I am not a guy who expects football
PCP.
coaches to be people's daddy. When Dennis Erickson and Jimmy Johnson, even Butch Davis, had their guys who ran a little hot. I don't blame the coach for that. I don't blame the coach for. I'm fairly libertarian when it comes to drugs. Like, if kids smoke weed, I don't really care that. Even look, it's Florida. If you get popped for coke, I'm probably not going to give you longer than the mandatory suspension. On the other hand, if I'm a football coach and one of my players tests positive for heroin or PCP, I'm probably going to say, maybe it's time we bring in a little bit of outside help on this one. Maybe it's time. Honestly, PCP, I live in South Florida. Everybody knows where to buy any kind of drug you want. I have no clue where you even go to buy PCP. Do you go? You go to the?
Oh, you do. I mean, it's from
No, seriously, do you go to the trailer park with the meth? Do you go to the hood with the coke? Like, where do you go to buy some PCP? I feel like, honestly, if you asked your drug dealer, do you have any PCP? The drug dealer's going to get offended. The drug dealer's going to be, wait, you think I sell angel dust? What kind of person do you think I am? I feel like you could literally offend your coke dealer by asking for PCP.
Yes.
Who the hell smokes PCP in 2000, whatever it was, 2009, I believe it was.
Any year, PCP, angel dust? No.
No, that was some wicked stuff. No
That's
doubt.
stuff. That's real deal.
All right, that's number 2. Number 1.
Oh, by the way, I didn't add this. I should have. The 31 arrests in 5 years is thought to be, now again, this is not a stat that is formally tracked, it's thought to be an SEC record for number of players arrested.
Wow. SEC.
And I got to say, if you hold the record for felonies in the SEC,
that's impressive.
And we're actually including Georgia driving violations.
Yes.
That's goddamn impressive. Like, you have to work for that record. That,
Not an easy
honestly,
accomplishment.
that is the Heisman level criminality of all time.
All right, number one on the list.
That takes us to number one on the list, which is, and people are going to say, Ken, this does not seem like worse than it, but to me it is, which is Urban Meyer's a guy who drinks at a grocery store bar by himself at 11 a.m. on a weekday.
On a weekday, on a weekend.
Again, for those who are unaware, this was actually taken 2 Black Fridays ago, so about 18 months ago. Urban Meyer was in town in Ohio to call the Ohio State or to do the
big
show
noon
with
bowl.
all the worst people in the world with Clay Travis and Matt Leinart and
the Big
Urban
Noon.
Meyer and Brady Quinn. Big Noon, yes. Big
Noon
Noon Awful
kickoff.
People show. He was
Yes.
there for that. And on Black Friday, he decided he wanted to go drinking and decided to go to the grocery store bar to do it at 11 o'clock in the morning, which says, again, now does this seem worse than faking heart attacks and grinding on college girls? Not at face value, although the young lady who took the picture with him here and then blotted out her own face, worth noting, she immediately turned around and sold this to sports sites after taking the picture with him.
Nice.
What this says is Urban Meyer is the type of guy who wants to start drinking at 11 o'clock in the morning, but doesn't want to do it at home like a normal person. And since no bars are open at 11 a.m., he's willing to go to the bar in the grocery store to do it, which, I mean, look, I'm not a guy who's against day drinking. I'm not a guy against enjoying a beer, but that seems a little bit extreme.
That's
that
excessive,
you're
yes.
drinking in the grocery store bar by yourself at 11 o'clock. I'm not going to use the word alcoholic, but let's just say that seems a little problematic to me.
Yes.
Like if you're the guy who's drinking in a honestly, I would go as far as to say, look, if you're a guy who's drinking in a grocery store, that by itself is enough. That you're doing it at 11 a.m. on because on Black Friday, that doesn't mean you went shopping with the wife and she's buying Christmas presents. You're in a freaking grocery store. You just wanted to go get drunk at 11 o'clock in the morning. And more to the point, this is the kind of activity that if you do it with your friends, it's kind of a fun day. Like, it's Black Friday. The wives are out shopping. Let's go get crocked at the grocery store at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Whatever.
Again, that by itself seems like a kind of activity, but if you're doing it by yourself, number one, again, problematic.
Yes.
And number two, what this really tells me, Urban Meyer has no friends.
Yes.
Urban Meyer has nobody who will go drink with him on Black Friday at the grocery store at 11 o'clock in the morning, which, again, draw your own conclusions about a man with Urban Meyer's level of success and money.
Yeah, exactly.
Still doesn't have one friend who will go drink with him at the grocery store at 11 a.m.
Certainly an impressive list of credentials to be part of the board of directors at the new school.
I mean, that says higher educated, right?
That does say higher education.
Here's a picture of and conservative values. Here's a picture of me drinking in the grocery store at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Classic stuff, Professor. And one of your favorite subjects, the great head coach of the Gators at one time. And, of course, a tremendous stint with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Urban Meyer. Excellent stuff. As always, Professor, you have a great weekend watching soccer. And
this afternoon, we got Canada and Bosnia and Herzegovina. Go Bosnia.
Will there be a wager, an over-under? What are the over-unders on this? A half a goal? It's kind of like the over-under on the number of cars in the Arby's drive-thru that you pointed out.
It depends on the game, and certainly with, teams that figure to score a bunch, it'll be 2.5, sometimes 3, but standards like 2 or 1.5 or 2.
I'm betting draws in every game. All right.
You have fun with that. Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for being with us. The professor, ladies and gentlemen, the professor. All right. Good. Okay. We can get right to this because Lubie went with an incredibly detailed illustration of what was going to happen here with the Miami Heat, and he wanted to get to the bottom of it. And who better, especially with what is happening with the New York Knicks and the San Antonio Spurs to bring on at this moment than Mr. Basketball himself. And that would be one Ethan Scoop Skolnick, 5 Reasons Sports Network. Scoop, audio only on this one. Scoop, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Good to be with you, sir.
Well, it's good to be with you because you have your finger on the pulse of everything that goes on with the Miami Heat. I believe you are actually inside the head. You implanted inside the brain somehow when you were doing that interview, that great one-on-one you had with Pat Riley for, what was that, Bleacher Report, right?
Yes.
And, yeah, and one of your many affiliations over the years. You have played the internet very much like Jason Cole. As the Neil O'Donnell of free agency, just and landed in a great spot. But Lubie he has high hopes now. Literally, we were just talking about Urban Meyer being high all the time, but he has high hopes in a different fashion that the Heat are going to pull off a deal for Giannis Antetokounmpo. What do you know, and when did you know it, and do you see it happening?
What did you know? What did you know? I'm taking them against the field. I think that's been my consistent thought here for the last couple of weeks. It doesn't mean it's going to absolutely 100% happen. It just means that I give them a better chance of closing this than I give anyone else. I see that the prediction markets have caught up with that, and that's why we're seeing the Heat over 50%. I think that's fair. I think when you look at the situation, Milwaukee, set a deadline on itself, of the draft. That's coming up in a week. At this point, like 10 days. And they want to know what their pick is going to be, right? Yeah. So they have the 10th pick, and the Heat, of all the teams that can offer anything, have the highest pick to offer, which is 13th. But the Heat also have a package of players and picks. While it doesn't have a headline star in it, it's very similar. I wrote a column about this for Sports Illustrated. It's very similar to the package that ultimately landed Anthony Davis for the Lakers from the Pelicans. If you go back to 2019, it's a very similar situation, actually. And Davis was younger than Giannis, 5 years younger, but he wanted out. He knew kind of where he wanted to go. He shared an agent with the player that he might be joining. In that case, it was LeBron. In this case, it's Bam. And I think when you look at what was ultimately offered, it was three young players. At that point, it was Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and Lonzo Ball. And then it was 3 first-round picks, including one in the upcoming draft. That one was the 4th overall pick. And that got the deal done. I think the Heat may have to give up more than that, but if you look at where they're starting with, it's 3 young players. Hero's 26. He's not Hero, Ware, Jaquez, probably, and then 3 first-round picks, including the one in the upcoming draft. And then it's, okay, is there any more that Milwaukee can squeeze out? And I think that's what these last few days are about. The Heat, have basically said you can have everything but Bam. It doesn't mean we want to give you everything but Bam. And so I think it's kind of, we're getting to the part now where it's, all right, can they squeeze? Can they get Houston involved? Can they get OKC involved? Is Boston serious? Is Orlando serious? Do you try the Knicks? But are the Knicks really going to do anything after they win a championship, which looks like it's going to happen now? And the odds of that are probably slim. So I think at that point that Milwaukee goes back to Miami, they maybe try to throw one more thing out there. Can they get Yakachonis out of the Heat? Can they get Larson? Can they get an additional pick swap? I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about now. There's options, there's variables, but I think ultimately if you get done or not get done, I would lean to that.
See, and so Defo made fun of me in the sense that I myself have said I'm done with this, right? I myself have said we've done this for like 3 or 4 years. And then before that, it was the hope for the Heat, even when Giannis was winning with the Bucks, that one day, because he had mentioned the Heat once in like an interview or in an off conversation, that's the guy they're targeting. And after this year, actually, the trade deadline, I was like, okay, like they supposedly liked the package. It was the best package. The Bucks just aren't going to trade him. That was my hang up. Right. I was like, they're just not going to get rid of him. Look, and it's fine. The Mavs never got Dirk, finished his career there. Once you get that title in a small market, if you like the city, you don't have to go, and they're going to keep you. The problem is they've gotten to the place where at least the Mavs were always competitive. Like the Bucks aren't. Like they have the 300, and he's going to need a new extension that's going to be in the 300 millions in his 30s, and he's already getting a little hurt. Like you're bad with him. If you're bad with him, what is the point of having him? Like, you're not going to be good enough to get a top 5 pick. Look, they sucked this year. They literally said, you talked with us about it. No, Giannis, you're not going to play even if you want to, because we need a tank for you. And they got the 10th pick. Like, that's without Giannis playing. So with Giannis, you're going to be bad. That's what's turned for me, and it feels different this time, is it feels like the Milwaukee's finally realized our future, looking at the Thunder and the Spurs, is better without him than it is with him. We have to trade him. If so, to who else, right? Like you just mentioned, all these teams, their packages don't fit what a team that the Bucks are trying. Like the Celtics, getting Jaylen Brown, he's a great player, but he's worse than Giannis. So you're still not going to get a top 5 pick. And now you have a guy who's making $300 million who's not as good as Giannis, right? So, like, to me, when you look at the teams available and the situation, it feels different this time just because of where the Bucks are and the teams that could possibly make a move.
Well, yeah, I think all of that is true. I think the other thing to take into account is that they just changed the lottery rules, so you can't tank if you want to. That's the other part of this, and so it doesn't even pay for them to bottom out. And they don't own their picks. They have. They gave 2 of their picks. I mean, Portland has control over 2 of their picks with swaps. So, that's why Portland has been mentioned as a possible suitor here, but I just don't see how there's a fit there. So, I mean, they could get involved in the third team. But I think all of that plays into it. Look, they were slightly below 500 with Giannis last year. They were one of the worst teams in the league without him. They did hold him out. He only played 36 games. The idea that he's declining is kind of silly. He was top 7 in MVP voting for 9 straight seasons. The only reason that changed this year is because he was out. They did hold him out for part of it. His offensive metrics this past season were the best of his career. His defense has slipped a little bit, but I just think putting him next to Bam, that's going to come right back. I don't have any doubts about that. I mean, the first thing that goes if you're playing for a team that can't compete is your effort defensively. I think that will bounce right back. Bam has never had anybody anywhere close to this playing next to him. I don't care whether Bam plays center or power forward. I just care that he has someone next to him that he doesn't have to protect all the time. This is going to be the opposite. The Heat fans who are concerned about fit are not thinking about defense. Nobody's going to score on them. The offensive thing, I'll say this: they fit better than Jimmy and Bam did. Jimmy never passed to Bam. I mean, we did lots of episodes about that. They didn't have any offensive chemistry whatsoever. So I don't think this is going to be worse. And Giannis elevates shooters to such a degree. Even as bad as Milwaukee was, they were the best 3-point shooting team in the NBA this year when Giannis was on the floor. He doesn't have to shoot well from outside. Everybody else will do it. So I don't. And then I think if you look at what they can do, obviously they're going to make an effort to get Wiggins and Powell back on reasonable enough contracts. They can give Norm additional years if they don't care about keeping the cap space clean for 27. So, and they won't. Once they have the star, they don't care about that anymore. So they'll probably re-sign Norm, who I don't think is going to have a big market out there. I think they can probably convince Wiggins to opt out and take less per year, but do a 3-year deal. And so those are 2 starters. Bam is a starter. I think that they will keep Davion in this deal. It's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed because if they're going to trade Jovic, that can't get done until the 6th, although they're going to announce it. But they may need Davion's money to get a deal done. We'll see. I don't think so. So I think that's probably your starting 5. And then the hope is to keep at least one of Jakachonis and Larson. And then you have Myron Gardner, who I think can play in the back end of a rotation. They will need to sign a backup big. But they do have the mid-level exception, $15 million. They do have a trade exception for Duncan, over $15 million, and they do have minimum contracts and the biannual exception. So there's a lot that they could do without going over the aprons. I think people who are concerned about what the team is going to look like if they get Giannis are not realizing, that they've positioned themselves pretty well for this. So I do think, it's just look, it's just if it happens, they're going to contend. I believe.
All right, Scoop, I know you have to run, but a quick thought about the Spurs and the Knicks.
Well, I mean, my thought is that De'Aaron Fox. I think we finally hit the point where the Spurs' inexperience has hit them, and unfortunately, the one veteran that they're counting on has been disastrous. Wemby probably needs to go through this. He hasn't been quite good enough. But I mean, to me, the biggest mistake of the series is just not playing Dylan Harper more.
Yes.
And I mean, that kid he's going to be an absolute superstar. And once he develops a jumper, but even right now, the numbers with him and Wemby on the floor together, they're like a plus 20 per 100 possessions. When he's playing with Fox, they're a -8. I don't. I understand they need to justify the money, but you need to win a championship. I give the Knicks credit. The Knicks have built the perfect kind of team to beat them.
Yep.
And I've said all along, Anunoby's their most important player. He's the MVP of this series. Brunson's great. Towns has been really good 2 of the 4 games. But Anunoby is a two-way guy like that. And the Heat need to look at that. Like these physical, bigger wings. Yeah. Anunoby is having a Kawhi type series,
yes,
honestly. And I think he's the MVP. If they win this thing, I think they will win this thing. And I give them credit because I didn't really see this coming. Honestly, they were kind of inconsistent during the year, but Mike Brown's done a terrific job. And they made some bold moves. The picks for Bridges. Trading Randall, and to get Towns, trading Barrett and quickly to get Anunoby, and then firing Tibbs. I mean, it's a lot of guts that they've shown, and I think it's going to pay off for them. I grew up a Knicks fan, but I don't feel anything right now because I gave that up. But I because I grew up in New York and I grew up rooting for the Riley teams, the Starks teams. But, I don't feel anything, but I don't really feel anything negative towards them either. I think they've built a good team, and I give them credit.
All right, we will send you to be posted on 5 Reasons Sports Network the picture of Lubie, who will be wearing the Spike Lee outfit for the rest of the year. After dismissing the Knicks as being so much of a discrepancy in terms of talent for the Spurs that he gave them 0. 0.0. All right, Scoop, I know you have to go.
I'm going to be up there for the draft. It's going to be insane. The parade will still be going outside of tomorrow. Yeah. So,
right.
Crazy.
Sounds good. Scoop, always a pleasure, man. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, guys.
Scoop Skolnick, ladies and gentlemen. It sounds to me, Lubie, like he might be onto something. No?
Look, again, and Mayo said it, and I said it, right? You were actually making fun of me because I'm the one that was sick of this topic, and I'm the one at the deadline that said I'm done. He's never getting traded. What's the point of talking about it? But the circumstances feel different. Like it feels like they finally realized that they can't win with him anymore. It's just they're going to be in this perpetual mediocrity, as we know, as Heat fans and Dolphins fans, that doesn't win. So at some point, you have to do what the Thunder did. You have to do what the Spurs did. You have to just say, okay, we're going to go very young, maybe not tank, but go very young and see where that takes us. So if they then trade him, where else do you go? Like the other teams that would trade for him, the big remark is, what will the Heat be? The Heat actually will be okay. Again, the East is in transition. The Heat will be among the teams that will contend next year with what they have. The Magic won't. The Celtics won't. So that's the thing is, it's not about, I'm Mr. Heat. Just look at the packages. You might not like the names. None of them are sizzle, but they're all guys that have started and will be rotation guys. The other names mentioned are very questionable. And then the Giannis has to want to be there because they have to contend after, and the Heat with what they'll have will contend in the East. Those other teams won't. It's just simple math. So and he doesn't want to go to the West unless it's the Thunder. And to me, if you're the Thunder, to mess with that, literally you went to 7 games with this Spurs team without your second best player, who's a top 15 player in the league. And they're all getting better. Holmgren's still only 23. To mess with that if you're the Thunder's dumb.
I can't see the Thunder changing what they're doing. I mean, it doesn't make sense. They're right there every year, and by all rights, could have easily been into the finals and might have had a better matchup against the Knicks.
Yeah,
and even Wembanyama and company. All right, well, we'll find out. You have another day to think about that. The series. Hockey last night was great. Absolutely fantastic. Carolina now up 3-2, a 4-2 victory last night. A very exciting game. What a bloodbath. This has been deemed one of the most, in spite of the fact that you have teams that aren't necessarily in the spotlight all the time. Vegas is always a great destination. You think about Vegas, you think about all the crap that you did there and all the money that you lost, but all the fun that you had in the process.
Yep.
But is it a major market? No, not by any means. And the same thing with Carolina. And yet, this is among the most watched series, and people are being wildly entertained by it, as they should be.
It's great hockey.
Yeah. I don't know how these guys do it. The Mighty Melendez, who is not a big hockey guy, says these guys are the most incredible athletes he's ever seen. I don't know how they survive even a single period, much less playing 82 games and then the possibility of having to win 16 more to win the Stanley Cup. It's really amazing. And far and away, we say this, it sounds like cliche, but I do believe it's the most difficult team championship to win in all of sports. All right, World Cup action for Lubie coming up later on today. Glued to the TV, watching a lot of soccer, I'm sure. Thank God I have a lot of running around to do today. All right, we'll see you guys again on Tuesday with this program. Thanks so much for tuning in. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you Tuesday as we leave you now that.
The time.
Thanks to the professor. Great stuff on Urban Meyer. And, of course, Scoop Skolnick with the latest. I mean, you talk about finger on the pulse type of journalism. That's Scoop saying, and my lean would be, maybe it's happening. We'll be after all of this conversation about it. Giannis to the Heat. It is 9:18.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.